All right, guys, let's go ahead and set up our notebooks for today. So at the very top of both pages, the left and the right page, we should be putting Learning Target 1.1 and Learning Target 1.2 variables on both sides of equations and inequalities. If you need more time, please pause the video now while you write. So we're going to start with this section. Underneath of your title, you're going to skip a line and then write what's the difference. Write those two equations, skip 3 lines, and then write steps. And then all the way over to the right, write that equation. If you need more time, please pause the video now while you write.
All right, so what we have here, we have 2 problems that look very similar, but we're going to talk about what's the big difference between these 2 problems. So they both start with a 3x and a minus 1, but here I have a plus sign, where on the other side, there's an equal sign. So the big difference here is that their equal signs are in different places. For this problem, what that means, this is what we saw last time. I have 3x and 2x, which are like terms, and they're going to be on the same side of the equal sign. So that means we're going to just combine like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and do that step. So 3x and 2x, if I add those together, that gives us 5x. We bring down the minus 1 equals 4. You saw a lot of this last time. These are all, nope, that is a 2-step equation. If we move over to this problem, I still have 3x and 2x, but this time I have the equal sign in the middle, meaning they're on different sides. If they're on different sides, we're not just going to combine them like we did before. So what we have to do is we actually have to cancel a variable from one side to move it to the other. One way to do this is I'm usually going to start with the number that's smallest. So I have 3x and 2x. So I want to take this 2x and move it to the other side. Since it's a positive 2x, this time we actually have to subtract it. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other and line up the like terms. So 3x minus 2x leaves me with 1x. We drop down the negative 1. Again, we subtracted 2x so that cancels, and we're just left with 4. Now that we have all the variables on the same side, we again are left with a 2-step equation.
Even though the original 2 equations are so similar, it's important that you do the first step correctly for each type. You'll notice that each of the 2-step equations that Ms. Brandt created are different, which means that they will give you a different answer. That first step is extremely important to do correctly. Pay close attention to where your equal sign is when you're looking at equations that have more than one variable. Underneath of that steps title, you're going to write these 5 steps. Please make sure you don't go all the way across the page because we are going to solve this problem on the right side underneath. So simplify the left side, simplify the right side, move variables to one side of the equal sign, solve the variable, and then graph on a number line. And then go ahead and write down this equation. Pause the video now if you need more time to write. Okay, so we've already talked about what is the difference. Ms. Brandt talked about that with us. So we're going to move on and figure out how to solve an equation or an inequality with variables on both sides. The very first thing we want to do is we want to find our equal sign and split our equation in 2. And then we're going to simplify the left side. So here's the left side. I have negative 2r minus 5. These are not like terms, so there's actually nothing I can do to simplify this side. So this step is done. Now I'm going to simplify this side, 3r minus 25. Again, these are not like terms, so there's nothing I can do to simplify the right side. So I am on to step number 3. It says move variables to one side of the equal sign. So I have a variable on the left and a variable on the right. I want them all to be on one side. It does not matter which way you move. You can move the 2r to the 3r, or you can move the 3r to the 2r. I think it's easier to move the smaller, so the negative 2r is smaller, so I'm going to move it by doing the opposite, adding 2r. Now these 2r's cancel. I'm left with negative 5 equals 3r plus 2r is 5r minus 25. And now I'm done with step number 3. Step number 4 says solve for the variable. So you'll notice this is just a 2-step equation now. I want to solve for r. In order to do that, I need to move this 25 by doing the opposite of adding. Then 5r drops down. Negative 5 plus 25 is positive 20. Solve for r by dividing both sides by 5. R equals 4. So I have solved for the variable. Step number 4, the very last step. graph it on a number line. We'll put 4 in the middle, 1 less on the right, or excuse me, the left, 1 more on the right. R is equal to 4, so I fill in a circle on 4 because it's equal to. It's not greater, it's not less. This is the only way to represent R equals 4. All right, so underneath of the 5th step that we already wrote down, you're going to skip a line, so don't write that again. You should already have it in your notebook. Go ahead and write these 2 equations, inequalities, and then you're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines, and then you're going to write this inequality. If you need more time to write this down, please pause the video now. Don't forget what our steps are. So we're going to look at this inequality. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to split our inequality at the inequality symbol. We're going to simplify the left side. -7 minus 6x. There are no like terms here, nothing to combine, no multiplying to do, so this is simplified. So I have step number 1, check. Step number 2, simplify the right side, so 2x plus 1. Again, these are not like terms, I can't combine them, I can't simplify that any further, so step number 2 is check. Number 3, move variables to one side of the equal sign. And in this case, we have an inequality symbol, so the rule still stands. So I want to get all of my x's on one side. Again, it doesn't matter which way you move. Last time I moved the 2r to the right. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like to move the other direction this time. I have a positive 2r, so I'm going to subtract it on both sides. These cancel. I'm left with 1. Keep my symbol. -6 minus 2 gives me -8x, and then I didn't do anything with that -7. So that is a check for number 3, step number 3. And moving on to step number 4, solve for the variable. This is just a 2-step inequality, which we've already been practicing. So I'm going to add 7, cancel those out, trying to solve for this x value. 1 plus 7 is 8. And then in order to get x by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by -8. Now, if you remember, whenever I divide or multiply by a negative, I have to switch my sign. 8 divided by -8 is -1. So I have done step number 4. Check. The very last step is to create a number line. Put -1 in the middle, 1 less on the left, 1 more on the right. Open circle on -1. It's not equal to, so I'm not going to fill it in. And it says x is greater than, so I'm going to shade in the direction of the bigger number. All right, let's look at this one. First thing we need to do is split our equation or inequality at the symbol. I'm going to draw my line down. So I need to simplify my left side first. So I'm going to look at my left side. I have a 7, 3x, and -6x. I can actually see that this 3x and this -6x could be combined. So 3 and -6 makes -3x. I didn't do anything with the 7, so I'm going to bring it down. The other side, so that's step 1, check. On the other side, I'm going to simplify the right. 2x plus 8, these are not like terms, so I'm going to drop them down as is. Okay, so that's step number 2, check. Step number 3, move variables to one side of the equal sign. So I want to get all of my variables on one side, so it doesn't matter which way you move. I'm going to move this 3x over to the 2x. 3x's cancel, left with 7 on that side. 2x plus 3x equals 5x. Didn't do anything with the plus 8, so I drop it down. And that is check on step number 3. Now I want to get my variable all by itself. So I have a 2-step equation here trying to solve for x. So I'm going to start by subtracting 8. -1 equals 5x. Divide by 5 to solve. X equals, I'm going to use my calculator, -1 divided by 5 is -0.2. So I just completed step number 4. Now I need to move on to step number 5, which is graph a number line. So I'm going to create a number line, putting that -0.2 in the middle, 1 less on the left, 1 more on the right. Put a circle. It is equal to, so I fill it in. It's not greater, it's not less, it's just equal to, so that is the only way to represent it. Last example we're going to do together. I'm going to draw a line at my inequality symbol, and I'm going to start with my first step, simplifying the left side. So -16 plus 3n. There's nothing there I can simplify. I can't combine these terms, so I have step 1 done. Step 2, I'm going to look at the right side and see if I can simplify. I don't have any like terms, but I do have some distribution that I can do. This negative outside is a -1. -1 times 8 is -8. -1 times a positive 5n is a -5n. And now I need to drop down the left side of the equation that I didn't change. So I've done step 2. I'm ready to move on to step number 3. I need to move my variables to one side of the equal sign. In this case, it's an inequality. Again, it does not matter which direction you go, so I'm going to move the 5n to the 3. So I'm going to cancel these out. My -8 drops down. -16, nothing happened with that. 3n plus 5n is 8n. And I did not multiply or divide by a negative, so my symbol stays the same. Now I've done step number 3, so I'm going to solve step number 4. This is just a 2-step inequality, trying to solve for n. Added 16 on both sides. -8 plus 16 is a +8. Almost forgot the equal to. Get n by itself, I need to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 is a +1. I didn't multiply or divide by a negative, so I kept my symbol. So I have done step number 4. I have one step left, which is to graph my number line. So I'm going to put one in the middle, one less on the left, one more on the right. I'm going to fill this circle in because it is equal to 1, but n is also greater. So I'm going to shade in the direction of the greater value. All right, go ahead and try the 4. Try it on your own problems in this space over here. Do not forget to graph your solutions. You can go ahead and pause the video now to try those on your own. Once you're ready, return to the video to check your answers.